Going live now, and we are broadcasting here from sunny Croydon and Authorcraft Central. Welcome to all of you that are joining us, and I know from our registrations we have people in Australia, people in the States, and people in the UK. So it's great to be reaching out and bringing us all together for the first of our authorcraft webinars. Now, we're just, I see we've got people coming in and joining us right now. Whilst we are allowing everybody to get in place and seated, a couple of housekeeping notes. You will see that there is a chat facility. I don't know, Mike, I know you're on the system at the moment. Would you like to send us a little message via the chat so that we can prove that it's working? And if you have any questions during the broadcast and you want to get one of our experts to answer that, then please just put it up on the chat. We will see it here and make sure that you get your question answered. So and here we go. Yes, thank you, Mike. I see your message here, and thank you for your welcome. So we see that, yeah, people are still joining us. I realize that the time zone for the call is GMT, so we're 8 p.m. GMT in London. We will be repeating the call at other times so that it will hopefully suit people from different time zones as well. So the idea of the call is to give everybody a chance to ask questions, to get the questions that you have in the foremost of your mind right now to help your project move forward. Now, I think we've, the room is filling up. Yeah, there is a little hands up button, a little red hand button. So if you'd like to just click on that to put your hand up so that we can see that that you're there and you can hear us. So do click on the little red hand so that we can confirm that you can hear us and see us successfully as well. So I'm just checking on our other presenters. Great, that's super. Right, so we'll make a start. Now, for those of you who are logging in from outside London, you probably haven't met me before, so let me firstly introduce myself. My name is Chris Day, and along with Mike Siegel, we are the founding directors of authorcraft. Now, authorcraft is the professional network for authors. We've been running since 2012 and been holding meetings not just in London, but in Guildford, Nottingham, and around the UK, where we've been bringing together groups of authors keen to develop their craft and also to find what routes to market are available to them and to help get through the process of getting their book published, and more importantly, turning it into a successful and profitable business. So authorcraft is all about both at events and through our live webinars and seminars, giving you the skills and the knowledge you need to be able to make informed decisions and to know enough to realize the processes that you are the best person on this planet to do yourself, and those are the processes which would be better to outsource to a professional who understands them better. Either way, the important thing is that rather than abdicating to any organization that says, oh, we'll do it all for you, to know that you have far more choices than you might have believed. So the call tonight is the first of a series of 16 webinars where we'll be taking you step by step through all of the different links in the chain, from getting your manuscript crafted, proofread, edited, taking you right through the process to then getting all your origination done, getting the layout, the design, getting the production process, and getting the marketing process done as well. We recommend that you allow 16 weeks from start to finish to make sure that there is plenty of time to have all of those processes in place. So before going on any further, I would like to go across and invite my good colleague Mike Siegel, who, as I say, is a fellow director of Authorcraft, and also the director of Original Speakers, the speaker bureau based in London. So, Mike, are you with us?
I am indeed, Chris. It's a shame I spent 2 hours getting ready, and for some reason you can't see me on camera, but there you go.
Well, we'll do our best to rectify that deficiency, so that hopefully you will come up live and clear. Let me just see if we can prod this with a stick and see if that works. So, well, we're seeing your smiling face on the screen, but not a
unmoving
camera.
Moving smiling face. Well, that's
okay. But Mike, I know that you realise the importance for a author to look wider than that in terms of getting their influence into the marketplace, and being a public speaker is such an important element of that.
I think whether you're in the business of speaking or writing, at the end of the day, it's all about communication. And the two worlds have suddenly collided. Even 5 years ago, it wasn't seen as that important that a speaker should have written a book about their subject so that they can be seen as an expert. And it also wasn't the case that a writer needed to know how to stand up in public and effectively promote themselves from the stage. But because of the way in which, you know best than anyone, the world of publishing has changed so much, the two worlds have now collided, and it's equally important for the speaker to actually write a book, to be recognized in the marketplace as an expert, and for an author to be able to stand up and talk about their book in order to promote it. And so because the two worlds have collided, we've brought together Original Speakers with authorcraft, and we now inhabit a world where both sets of people have very, very common ground. So I would urge anybody who is writing a book to start thinking about learning the craft of speaking, and anybody who's a speaker to actually write a book. And in that way, we're bringing the two sets of people together.
Absolutely, Mike. I appreciate that. Thank you. And since we, oh, there we go. Finding all of the buttons on this system, which appear to be working for a change, which is very encouraging. So thank you for that. Over the last few years, one of the things that for me has made authorcraft such a vibrant place is at our meetings, people get a chance to talk about themselves, they get a chance to talk about their project, they get a chance to share the one thing that they need to help them move their book project forward. And when you're sharing that with a group of other authors, then it's quite likely that one of them will have the experience of solving the particular problem that you're finding yourself. So the dynamic of authors working together and sharing with each other, and explaining those things that have worked for them, their author journey, that's been one of the biggest dynamics that we've had on the events that we've been holding, and we're trying to create that similar opportunity for people to share and to learn from each other through the calls. So that's why interactivity is everything. And if for any reason you you need more information on any of the topics related to your book project, and we don't have time to cover those in full during the call, then please take full advantage of one of the big value offerings of membership, and that is when you do join, you get the opportunity of having a mentoring call, a 30-minute mentoring call with a publishing expert. And it's at a call like that that you can go through the project and share with your mentor those aspects of the process that you need to be better at. Throughout the authorcraft membership, we have experts in all fields of publishing, and also of author mentoring and author business coaching. And whether you need to get clarity on your business model, what it is that you want the book to achieve for you, what doors you want the book to open, where you want to position yourself in your marketplace as a result of having the book. All of these things you need clarity on really before you start writing the book. It's not sensible to spend the hours and hours that so many authors do to capture their manuscript without having clarity on who it's for and what it is that your target reader is looking for. It's been my experience talking to many authors and mentoring and coaching them that perceived wisdom is that you give best possible value when you're writing a book. And so very often an author will look for a lifetime's worth of knowledge and experience and anecdotes and tools and all of the hints and tips that they can possibly think of, and cram all of that together into a book which can probably be 300, 400 pages even. And that's all fine, except that because that book, and we're talking obviously about non-fiction books here, we will speak in more detail about fiction books shortly. But the whole purpose of the book is to reach the reader. And if the book is inaccessible, if it's too big, or if it's not clear as to who it's for, if you I think we're getting some interference on the bandwidth here. I hope you can still hear me. If it's not clear who the book is targeted at, and the one problem that it really fixes, then it becomes less easy to market it. It's one thing saying, oh, the book is for everybody, but then if you want to communicate with everybody, that's a huge task. It's far easier to identify one target reader and absolutely fix the one biggest problem that they have, and to do so in maybe 150 to 180 words, and have a book which is so targeted that it will last forever, because there will always be people coming into that marketplace with that problem. So having a book that's very, very targeted, and that when you wrote it, you've got great clarity on who it's for, what they're looking for, and why they would buy it. If you can do that, then you've got a book that has great potential. I see we've just had some new members joining us, so welcome to the authorcraft call. You're very welcome. You'll be joining other authors from as far afield as Australia, America, and across the UK. So pleased you're able to take part and join us today. As we are speaking, yep, I can see you coming online. You will notice that there is a chat facility. So if you want to identify yourselves and throw in any questions as we go, great. And I can see Wendy, you're there. That's wonderful. And Wendy, hi Mike, checking you're not eating, it says. So I see, well, there's a whole back chat going on through this with the chat facility. So Wendy, I do hope we'll be able to come across to you later, although I don't see you've come up in the control panel. So do check your link, because I'm really looking forward to bringing you into the call later on. But one of the things that we want to help you to achieve, firstly, to get clarity on who the book is for, what the niche of the market is, that you're aiming at, and what the reader will become as a result of reading your book. So part of the process of really connecting your book with your reader is for you to have clarity on that yourself to start with, and then the clarity that you have will spill out onto the book cover, so that with the 5 things that a book cover needs to have in order to really connect with its target reader, and we'll be going through those 5 things later on. So if you don't hear that, then challenge me to find out what are the 5 things that makes a book cover really work. So the course, as we go through the 16 weeks, is a rolling program. There are 16 modules. This is module 1, and each of those modules will develop further and take you through step by step. At the end of that time, we go back to module 1 and roll through another 16 weeks. That means that whenever you pick up the course, if you do 16 weeks, you will have all of those 16 modules, and at the end of that, hopefully know enough to be able to successfully bring your book to market. Now, Wendy, I can see that you're online, but you haven't come up in the control panel, so I'm looking forward to switching to you, but alas, technology is working against us at the moment. So do keep trying the link, and if there's a problem, do send me a chat message, so we'll see if we can fix it here. Now, Mike, I know that you're wearing 2 hats yourself tonight. Not only are you there as a speaker agent and somebody that really understands the value of becoming a speaker and an author, but you're also on an author journey yourself. I know you're working on the book, so looking at it from the standpoint of you as an author, what is it that you are trying to get clarity on to help you move your project forward?
Well, I can speak as a first-time author. I think I'm in the same position as anybody else who's decided to write a book for the first time. I think everybody believes that they have at least one book in them. And my experience is that most people will write their first book about their passion, about something that they believe in, something they really know about, whether it's a factual book like mine or a fiction book about, some ideas that you have running through your head. My book is about business networking. It's something I've been doing for the last 30 years. And I have been trying, in inverted commas, to write this book for the last 7 years. And I think I found that that's very much in common with a lot of other people. There's always something else that gets in the way, usually life. But what I've found through my association with your good self and with authorcraft is that it provides a focus. You realize that you're not alone. You're not the only person sitting at home thinking, how on earth do I get this committed to paper? How am I going to achieve writing this book? And to quote my good friend Mike Pagan, I've been faffing around for years, actually trying to get this book written. And what I discovered is the way I'm actually going to write my book is the most fundamental thing. So referring back to something you said earlier, the key thing is not just to sit down and spend hours and days actually churning out a manuscript. So what I've decided to do instead for my own purposes, as everyone who knows me will tell you, I'm a speaker. So I'm actually going to speak my book, and I'm going to have my book transcribed onto the page by my PA, Caroline. Once that's done, then I'm fortunately in a situation with the craft and with yourself to be able to look at the best way of promoting and marketing the book, having it edited, having it proofread, and all the things you talked about earlier. And I think the key thing is that with authorcraft, we're taking away that pain of the isolation of sitting at home on your own thinking, how on earth am I going to achieve this book? And when you meet other people, primarily with us obviously at our monthly authorcraft meeting event, the next one being on Tuesday the 26th of May at the Institute of Directors in the evening, you simply come across like-minded people, and it's enormously helpful to have the benefit of that network. And as a networking expert myself, I know the benefit of network are more than just meeting other people in the same boat, because you actually form firm friendships. And with authorcraft, you meet the experts. We have, what, 10 experts now, Chris, who can actually sit down and look at every single aspect of the writing of the book, the promotion of the book through social media, the marketing of the book, the publishing of the book, you name it, we can help you with it. So I hope, as a short answer, that's the answer you were looking for.
Thanks, Mike, very much. Let me just switch back over. There we go. I think, there we go, that's fantastic. I'm delighted to see that Mona Lisa has joined us on the call tonight. Mona Lisa, massively talented author whose book, Define Yourself and Become the Architect of Your Future, was launched at our authorcraft event a couple of months ago. And getting clarity on who you are is one of the really important things about becoming a successful author, identifying where you add value in the marketplace, what you stand for, and the one thing that people would be seeking you out. Now, I'm going to try a little piece of technology here, because I do have Mona Lisa speaking about her book and about her philosophy of helping you to get clarity on who you are. So bear with me, I'm going to click a couple of buttons, and hopefully we'll be able to see see Mona Lisa. Just bear with me a second. Well, okay, that didn't quite work according to plan, and I see we've got lined up there, instead of Mona Lisa, it's Anthony Welfare, who I was going to call upon in a couple of minutes to talk about how authors can use all of the technology at their disposal to create a presence out there. So I do hope we'll be able to go back to Mona Lisa in just a second. But in fact, Mike, could you help me out whilst I work on that and get that video lined up? And just talk for a second about authorcraft membership.
Yes, we have a very strong demand for membership, because when you're writing a book, it's not a quick visit to a networking group for a week or two and then leave. So what we're looking for is people who are looking to join over the period of time that they're writing their book, and possibly for longer, because people are making strong friendships and learning from each other. So authorcraft isn't just about first-time authors. We have people who have written 5 or 6 books, one or two have written 10 books, but it's the learning process, and the whole idea of membership, which is available at just $9.99 a month. It's a bit of a no-brainer as far as we're concerned to join authorcraft. And you know, if you want to come to a meeting free of charge, we always allow first-time visitors to come to an authorcraft monthly event completely free, and you can't get much cheaper than that. We're never going to pay you to come to one of our events. So once you've joined, you have a whole plethora of benefits which you can see on the website, which is quite simply authorcraft.co.uk. And I would urge you to go and have a look at the website. We have some amazing pieces of news. Chris has a wealth of knowledge from, I think, about 150 years in the publishing industry. So lots of blogs, lots of news, lots of amazing information. But more importantly, the reality, if you take, you know, all the hype and marketing away, and we don't really hype authorcraft that much, what we're selling is knowledge. And there is so much encaptured on our website. It's actually reached a stage that we're really proud of, aren't we, Chris?
Yeah, indeed. Thanks for that, Mike. Thanks for helping me to do a technical recovery here in the background. But you did mention the event on the 26th of May, and just to pick up on that, our guest speaker is Ben Kench, who is the author of Selling for Dummies and also More Money, Less Stress. Wendy, who is on the call, but unfortunately not connected to the control room, because I was so looking forward to her sharing her knowledge with you this evening. We will do our best to resolve that as we go through the call. So please bear with us as we try and force the technology to do what we want it to. But Wendy is a superb writing coach, and has worked with a number of authors to great effect. She has some wonderful testimonials and reviews from our authors, and she's tremendous at taking you step by step, where the whole journey appears to be such a massive task, but broken down into a series of short steps, it becomes doable. And Wendy specializes in taking you from where you are now to where you want to be, with clarity, purpose, focus and confidence. And she will be our guest speaker along with Ben, and of course the incredible Mona Lisa, who I'm delighted is on the call this evening, and I will find your video clip very shortly, I promise you. Finally, on Tuesday the 26th, if you can find your way to London, Cindy Harvey of Famous Branding will also be a part of that call. So let's go back now to looking at the first stages of your project. And we were talking about getting clarity on your purpose, and having a clear idea, not just of your target audience, but what it is that they are looking for. And many people, when they're starting a writing project, it seems just a huge task. And one of the things that Mike said a moment ago, I think is very profound, and that is using the technique of recording and transcribing. I once heard a lovely saying, which is, don't ask me what I think until I've heard what I'm going to say. Now, if you think about it for a second, very often when we are, we've maybe just delivered a workshop, we're standing on stage and somebody asks us a question. Now, in that split second of time between that question and your brain responding, it's amazing what it can do in terms of drawing together from a lifetime's worth of knowledge and producing an incredible coherent stream of wonderful words. And it's the trigger of that question. And using that same dynamic, you can also create a very fluent book. Questions are a great way of accessing things hidden in the depths of the brain that we might never really find when we're sitting with two fingers, as is in my case, tapping away at the keyboard and trying to hack words out of nowhere. But I believe that having encouraged other authors to try the recording route, it's amazing how fluent the words that they produce become. If you are regularly doing public speaking, if you're regularly doing workshops or training sessions, always record them. And hold on a second, I'm looking, oh, here it is. There we go. A gadget like this is what I would highly recommend you to have. This is an Olympus voice recorder. It can take I think 24 hours of recording at one time. More importantly, it has a USB socket so that you can plug it directly into a computer, download those files, and having downloaded them, you can then send them to somebody to transcribe for you. And getting back a series of pages of well-transcribed material, it's easy then to edit and to cut and paste and to extract from that the material potentially for a chapter or maybe for a blog or for an article. I was, I'm thrilled and delighted to see that Wendy has managed to overcome technology. And I can see you on the call, Wendy. So thank you for clicking the links and making it work. If you're sitting comfortably, as Daphne Oxford Ford would want to say, we're going to get across to you right now, and we should see you on the screen any second. Hold on a sec. And there you are. Wendy, thank you so much for joining us. Can we hear you? Let's see if we can hear you.
Chris, it's my pleasure to be here. Is that working?
It is. Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic.
So we were talking a moment ago about the great value that working with a writing coach can be. You were working with when I came across you for the first time. You just done a fantastic writing project with Helen Haynes, and I'm sure you've got a copy of the book in your hand, ready to hold up. But Helen spoke incredibly warmly of what you did for her and how you managed to make it a seamless and smooth project.
Thanks, Chris. I was going to show people a copy of the book, actually. I don't know whether people can really see this, but this is the first book coaching project that I worked on a couple of years ago. And I just wanted to say to people that book coaching is actually about finding solutions for each individual person, because each individual person has different needs, wants, expectations, goals, questions, and coaching is about teasing out the answers to those questions and issues, if you want, around goals and what your purpose and your message is for each individual person. So book coaching is about helping people, inspiring people, motivating people to come up with their own solutions, and that's very important that people realize that that ability is there to help them, because as we said before, writing your book can be a very lonely process, and having a coach will give you an independent, completely objective, completely confidential person to talk to in the process of writing, publishing and selling your book. And that's the advantages that it brings to people.
Wendy, you have another major advantage when you're working with people, is that you're not just a writing coach, but you have a far wider skill set than that, which enables you, I think, to add a lot more.
Yes, thanks, Chris. I do a varied range of things, really. I do author writing and book coaching, but I also offer help with marketing, in particularly social media platforms marketing. And I also do a service. In fact, I've been editing a book today. I also do an editing service for authorcraft members. So there is a range of skills there, and there's a range of benefits for the authorcraft members, whether they'd like to have some coaching, some social media marketing help, actually to set it up, and guidance, some editing help, or some book writing coaching help, and I can help the members with those things.
Yeah. Now I believe that today it's not enough just to be an author, and it used to be the case that in the days of the 19th century publishing model, where you would find you would take your manuscript and submit it to numerous publishing houses and get those very creative rejection letters, and eventually somebody would give in and would ride out of the sunset on a white horse, brandishing a check, and the author then sat back and did nothing. Simply because in those days, and I say in the past because it is in the past, those days, the publishers did everything. They excluded the author from the process. They did all the marketing, they did all the PR, and all the author had to do is to turn up at a book signing and maybe attend an interview with a journalist. But things have changed dramatically since then, and authors need to be a lot more than just authors.
I think actually that's why we've got so many authors around today, because it's such an opportunity for people who are authors not to be just an author, but to be a public speaker holding your book in your hand, to be a really good social media and social platform speaker, so you can gather your own following, whether that's on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Pinterest or Instagram, with photographs of what you're writing your book about. There's so much opportunities for author now. It's opened the whole gambit. So it's not just writing a book. For those people who want to bring more to it, they've got that opportunity. I agree entirely, Chris.
Yeah, just to everybody on the call, I'm looking at the chat window. You have a very talented expert on the call at the moment. So if you have questions for Wendy, please put them on the chat so that we can get her to answer those for you. But Wendy, I do believe that the buzzword today is very much becoming an authorpreneur, and becoming somebody who is skilled at a whole raft of processes that authors in the past never had to. It is a new world out there. People are very encouragingly, people are buying more books now than they've ever done in the past, but they're buying them in different formats, in different media, from different places and in different ways. So I think now is the best time ever to be an author. But the old 19th century business model for authors is absolutely the wrong thing to be looking for. So there is this mindset with so many authors that unless a publisher is going to ride out of the sunset with a check, I'm not going to do anything myself. I'm not going to take charge of my project. I'm not going to invest in myself as an author. And I think that's very short-sighted.
But Chris, I think it's very exciting in today's world, because what the new model gives authors is a voice more than their book. It makes their book much more sellable, in a sense, through media, through social media platforms, and it gives authors an opportunity to write the message in their book, but also to talk about it and gather their followers in many different formats. And that's what book and author coaching is so important about, because it helps authors work out what their goal is for their book. And each author is a unique individual and may have a unique goal with their particular book. Not every author has the same purpose in mind when they write their book. And so that's one of the things that coaching is really beneficial for authors, is to work out what is your particular goal with this book that you're writing. You know, whether it is your business model for creating profitability in the future as a bookpreneur, or whether it's to write about a subject, to become an expert on a subject, or whether it's some other purpose for individuals. And that's important to work out.
Yeah. Wendy, we'll just take a second now to hear from another expert in social media. I will be coming back to you in a second, but we're now going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to press a button and hope it works, and to hear from Anthony Welfare, who wrote the book Social Media for Authors.
Chris, I think it's focused on me.
Sorry, do we have a technical issue there? Wendy, sorry, do we have a technical issue there?
You and I seem to be connected still, Chris, but I don't know that we're going to get Anthony.
I'm sorry. I'd hoped we'd gone across to him, but alas, apparently that was not the case. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's the case. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Never mind. It was a noble thought, and we will crack this system and make it and tame it before too long. So my apologies for the technical glitch. But you know, going back to looking at the importance of building a business around your book, and you mentioned that speaking and having a good presence on social media is essential. I think it's more than that, because many authors will look at the marketplace and think that if they simply put their book up on one platform, then the job is done, and they will be found. But the reality is, on Amazon alone, there are 32 million books. That's 32 million books on Amazon. And Amazon is just one, so, albeit an important platform, it is just one platform. And it's I think the same odds as you get with the national lottery to be found randomly. You need to, if you're serious about building a business around your book, you can't afford to put all your eggs in any one basket. And what you do need to do is to be found easily in a few clicks from anywhere around the world. And if you manage to get traffic to yourself, what's really important is that you take that transaction. If you manage to get people to your website, the worst thing to do in the world is to have a link to another retailer to sell the book. Because if you do that, you're depriving yourself of probably a 70% profit that you would have had you made that sale directly yourself. But Wendy, in your experience, authors tend to be so focused on their material, they don't seem to think past that to the wider marketplace.
I think, Chris, going back to what you were saying about the change in the models, the business model of being an author and writing a book, selling and publishing a book, as you were saying earlier, how it's changed. That's one of those major changes now, is that now people expect more from an author. So it's not just about writing a book. It's about people actually want to connect with the author. And if they're not connecting with them through, you know, Facebook or Twitter or the websites, they actually would like to see them speaking. They'd like to have an opportunity to discuss with an author, for example, whether it's face-to-face or online. And that's where authors can build partly when they can build their businesses. When they've written their book, they then go on the speaking tour and talk about their book. They become an expert in that subject, and they start to build their business around their personal brand. And I know you have branding experts within the authorcraft team who will be presenting later on this webinar series, and I think that will be very helpful for your followers too, because building your personal brand will help build your business, and your business brand will follow.
Yeah, and indeed, before you can build your brand, you need to have complete clarity on who you are and what makes you special in the marketplace. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from Mona Lisa as she shares that with us. But just picking up on what you were saying, that your book is only one product, and it's one manifestation of your words. And a book on its own will reach a good number of people. But the thing I urge you to be aware of is that people have their own different preferences in the way they gain information. Some people will absolutely love the paperback because you can drop it and it doesn't break. It doesn't need to be recharged. You can read it in any light level and the bright sunshine. There's a lot to be said for it. But there are people who travel to work in the car every day who will only buy a book if they can get it as an audio CD, because that's the way they listen to books. There are people who will only buy the book if it's available as an MP3 download, so that they can listen to it on their little iTunes and I forget what. Yeah. That as well, yeah, thank you. And there are those people that will look to stream it to their smartphone. Increasingly, audio streaming is growing, and if you don't do an audio version of your book, then you are excluding many people who these days really prefer to listen to it on their little white headphones as they go along and they stream it. So those are some of the ways to repurpose. But also you can turn your book into a course, into a series of modules. You can be delivering extracts from the book and tools and strategies via webinars, via all sorts of other platforms. So it's about moving into that thought leadership space where you are reaching out in every different technology and through every different platform and creating a space for yourself as an expert in your field. Wendy, do you see more authors realizing this important point?
Chris, I do see more authors realizing that, and I go back to my point about social media because, excuse me, it's all about, these days, it's all about providing valuable content for readers, listeners, watchers, however they take your content on board. And that's what a book is. It's valuable content that people want. With social media, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter whether you do it through Facebook with images, Twitter, or you do it through Pinterest or your website. You're providing valuable content. And going back to what you said earlier, Chris, you're also providing this interconnectivity through your communication channels. But those communication channels have all joined up now and form this great sphere of 24-hour instant response communications. And that's what people are looking for from authors. They're actually hoping and looking for authors to have that ability to extend their book into other areas. And that's where this great exciting new phase has arrived, where writing a book can become your business and can be a voice for the future.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. The other thing is that we should never forget that we are absolutely drowning under information. When you look at Wikipedia, as I affectionately refer to it as, and you know, and Mr. Google in all his different forms, we are drowning under data. We're drowning under information. But where the author can really add value is by sharing applied knowledge. It's their experience, how they've processed this raw data, this raw information themselves, how they've learned through experience, and are now prepared to share that with other people. Now, for new authors on the call, I certainly believe that we spend a lifetime making payments into our bank of knowledge. And the point has come where unless we now make a withdrawal and turn that information into a form that can be shared with others and that can be bought by others, we're going to end up with a dormant account. And you know, everybody has something to share. And I do believe that there's somebody somewhere right now who would willingly pay good money to know what you know. And the trick is to identify that need and then to package what you know into a way that people can buy it. Some time ago, I was working on a web project, and we were planning to put one of those annoying little presenters who walked across the screen and talked to you. I can't stand them when they come on the site, but this is what the client wanted. And we'd done all the filming, we'd created the alpha channels, we'd done it on green screen, we'd done everything, but could we get it to work? No. So my colleague searched on Google, how do I do X, Y, and Z in this particular piece of software? And amazingly, in a fraction of a second, up came you know, a few thousand sites, and the first one said, I will teach you how to do X, Y, and Z in this software. And we clicked on it, and the offer was very clear. It was $29. We paid it, and back came all the help we needed, and within 30 minutes we were up and running with that particular program. And that same principle applies no matter what the topic is that you are sharing. And it's just a question of how you package it, and then of course the next stage, how you get that to market. So as this is Author 101, let's talk for a moment about the different ways you can get published. We spoke earlier about the 19th century publishing model, where you approach the big publishing houses. And in fact, you can't really get through to them directly because they've put up moats and drawbridges and anything to stop authors actually getting onto their premises. Interestingly, at this year's London Book Fair, we were finding that many of the publishers who had up to now been very aloof about speaking direct to authors were changing, and the dynamic this year was very different. One of the big things that you can get through authorcraft, which is a real bonus, is that one of our experts is in fact a literary agent, and that's Susan Mears. And Susan is very knowledgeable about not only which publishers are looking for and are open for titles in particular genres, but they're the people that she spends her life talking directly to at international book fairs around the world, not just the UK, but in Frankfurt, in Beijing, in the States, in the Emirates. So one of the things that authorcraft will help you to do, if you have a title that you believe has got suitable to be accepted by one of the big publishing houses, we can help you to create a publishing proposal, pitch document. We will link you up with an editor to help you by producing a reader's report, and that independent assessment of your manuscript is something that a literary agent and a publisher will want to see. So taking your proposal, your sample chapters, and your reader's report. Every month there is a editorial meeting that authorcraft attends, literary agents attend, and books, manuscripts which have potential for going further are then taken on and helped on their way. So that's a big benefit of authorcraft membership. So if your manuscript doesn't fit that criteria, if it's not suitable for one of the big 5 publishing houses, but it does have great potential to position you, your space, you may well want to consider self-publishing. Now, it's now easier than ever before to self-publish. There are many platforms which make this very easy. And the trouble, though, with self-publishing is, as the name suggests, you're on your own. And self-publishing, it breaks my heart to see books which look really well crafted and are excellent in their own right, but that have not achieved their full potential simply because the author wasn't aware of all of the links on the chain to get it to market, to get it into the supply chain, to get it seen by the book buyers, to get it to the bookshops, to get it properly distributed, and to know how to access that world. So self-publishing is fine. And with support from authorcraft, we can help train you so that you can be knowledgeable about all of those processes. So self-publishing, traditional publishing, there is a third one in the middle, which is growing in popularity, and that's partnership publishing. And partnership publishing is where the author and the publisher work together, and to be honest, neither of them can achieve their full potential without the other. And partnership publishing will enable the author to play to their strengths and to do those parts of the process that they are the best person on this planet to do themselves, and to identify those other parts of the process which may be more related to supply chain and to origination or to production, and work with a publisher to help them with that process. But the two together working to achieve the end goals to mutual benefit, and that's the key to it. Having chosen the way you are going to get published, you then need to look at routes to market. Now, there are many ways and many places to sell a book, and there are many big online bookshops that will willingly sell your book for you. But the one message which I think is really important to realize is that the books that you sell yourself, and you sell through your own routes to market, through your website, through your events, through your email marketing, through your strategic partnerships, through joint ventures. All of those books are going to be vastly more profitable for you than any other route to market. So whilst you do need the book trade, and you do need to be able to circulate your book around the world, absolutely, you should look first about the routes that you can control, which will be vastly more profitable and will earn you in circa 70% profit per copy, rather than nearly 10%, which is what you'll undoubtedly receive from the book trade. We're coming up now to 9 o'clock, so we're moving towards the end of the call. Wendy, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Thanks, Chris. I just want to say thank you very much for everyone who's been with us this evening, and I just leave you with a message that I think for me, my advice to authors in the future is it's all about adding value to the discussion. As Chris says, there's a lot of data, a lot of information out there. People want the value. That's what they're looking for. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. And back across to you, Mike. And I hope I haven't caught you in mid-mouthful. There we are.
No, you just woke me up, Chris. 2 dates, everyone, for your diary. If you mark 8 p.m. every Sunday in your diary for this series of 16 webinars, as Chris said earlier, if you missed it, a rolling course. So as long as you do 16 in a row, you will have done the whole course. And the second date is our May event, our networking event, our authorcraft networking event at the Institute of Directors on Tuesday, the 26th of May, starting at 6 p.m. and finishing at 9 p.m. That's all from me tonight. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much indeed, Mike, and thank you to everybody that took part in our call this evening. And I look forward to seeing you at our events and on our calls in the future. Please, if you've got questions that you didn't get a chance to ask this evening, email them to us, advice@authorcraft.co.uk. Go onto the website, and where you will find our blog page, there's information drawn from around the world about stories which are of relevance to authors, and those are covered every day on the website. So do go there, and just for me now to thank you for your time, and look forward to seeing you all in the future. Thanks for all our speakers, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chris.